up, StarDock? It's your boy Star Charger, and I'm gonna try to not keep us for very long, but at the same time, what needs to be said about Kitana coming up at MK1 needs to be said. And given from what I'm seeing on social media, along with what I've seen, you know, throughout the landscape of the community as a whole, it needs to be done right, or as done as well as possible anyway. Hey Lady Cypher, how you doing? Hope you're doing well tonight. Hope everybody that has the opportunity to join us tonight is doing well. And I will be doing my best to post this up on YouTube when all is said and done. So I definitely hope that anybody and everybody that's able to put eyes to it can do so. But before I get into the meat and potatoes of what I want to discuss about Kitana and the state of her being in Mortal Kombat 1 is concerned, and what I mean by that, well, I'm just going to be talking about her gameplay. I don't know how everything's going to go down with the story. We'll get into all those meat and potatoes later on in the fall when, of course, the game drops in earnest. We have a chance to go through story mode, and we can geek out about the lore later on. All right, we can do that later. But for the time being, what I'm basically going to be discussing is the gameplay that has been experienced in both the stress test and the beta up to now. All right, wait for it. All right, so break out of that. All right, so let me just stop that right there. You just saw what happened just a moment ago. Let me go ahead and replay that. So yeah, break out of this. All right. I use back 1-4, and the second hit is mid. All right, so the sequence is mid, and yet the second hit of that sequence got completely and utterly stuffed and low profiled. So to this very day, Kitana still has mids that can be low profiled. Fun. Absolutely fun. Absolutely lovely. Absolutely lovely, baby. So we still got mids that can be low profile. And if that wasn't bad enough, let me show you something. Check this out. Check this out. We're going to stick with back 2-4. All right. That's DP. Boom! Blown the French toast up. Let me show you again. All right. Watch this. Boom! There's a gap there. There's a gap. Wow, bro. There's really a gap there, and this dude just exploited that shit. Holy fuck. Yep. Yep, my reaction said everything you needed to know. My reaction when I mean, seriously. There's a gap in her forward advancing mid hitting string in this game. If the fact that the second hit of that sequence could be low profiled and stuffed cleanly, just like you saw in Mortal Kombat 11's vid a moment ago, when the same thing was happening to her forward 2 and to her back 1 when going up against that low profiling down 4 of Stetrions, the same issue persists in this game, and in that same sequence, she has a gap between the first and second hits. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. All right, well, yeah, let's continue. Take a look at that. I had the read right there. Let's take a look at that one more time. Let's take a look at that one more time. Anti-air. I had the read. I go into the fan lift, and the fan lift does not connect. Amazing. Amazing. Something right there that could have absolutely allowed for me to absolutely stack a lead right there off of a nice read. Instead, I'm trying to collect myself, and I'm trying to collect my momentum after the game didn't want to let any of that connect. Yeah, that's what it is. What can I tell you? And, you know, her options as far as 2-4-1-2, I mean, it's just a multi-hitting stream. That's the only way that she can really start a lot of her offense. And she's got very limited ways that she can mix anything up in general. Case in point, let me go ahead and show you something else. Let me take it a little bit further. No damn, which is useless as hell. All right, yeah, the 2-1-2, it's useless. So basically, you've got 2-4. You've got 2-4-1-2, which is the main multiple hitting string you see whenever I do it. And you don't even see the full extent of the notes over here on the right-hand side when you do the advanced view on what the reactions are. The only thing you're able to see the reactions on as far as these sequences concerned is the string that I'm highlighting right now, Unbreakable at 2-4-2, where you see the reaction of -5 on block, -5 flawless block, all that good stuff, and then 2-4, which is neutral on block. You don't see any of the reactions on block on 2-4-1-2, which it shows as NA. It's just telling us that all of that, when you put it all together, is NA. And that's mid-hitting, by the way. And also, Unbreakable is mid-hitting. So there's no mix-up to any of this whatsoever. Okay? I've got another mid that has absolutely no damn purpose. And it just blows you away when it hits you. Another mid that doesn't bounce people, that has no damn purpose. Back to... All right, so basically... 2-4-1-2, it's the straw that stirs a lot of her drink right now. 2-1 is the stagger for her that leaves her at neutral. And 2-4-2 is the string that's just there. It's just a mid-hitting blowback string that's negative on block that in all seriousness is just completely and utterly devoid of purpose as things are now. Check this out. Look at how far away it sends them. There you go. Whenever I want to do a combo, look at this. I gotta chase the fucker all the way across the screen again. Why? Why? That hinders me so much on what I want to do with my combos. And with my tag assists too. With all the stuff that I want to do with my cameos, I can't even do it because the tag, or because the ground bound sends them so far away. The only cameo that's been able to help me circumvent this in terms of utilizing them in a combo situation is Sonya. Sonya, because she does the square assault. She does the square wave to go ahead and help out with that. But, geez, it's just like you see the proof right there. Yep. 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 You see Sub-Zero when Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. It's one of those topics that needs to be talked about. It needs to be talked about. And yeah, Cham, Frost is that kind of a character. I had a lot of fun with her in the beta, and I can tell Kano's gonna be another one of those ambush characters that I'm gonna have some fun with in testing as well. But ultimately, that's the problem. That's a lot of Kitana's problem. Her cameos are basically gonna be the lifeblood as to how she's gonna get stuff done. I know that's basically NRS's entire MO for how this game is supposed to present itself for all characters that are part of the main roster. But the thing is, you had characters in the beta that, honestly, if they could fight the game solo, they could. in the sense that they didn't really need their cameos for giant damage. They just wanted their cameos around so that they could basically cover up certain aspects of their game that their main probably couldn't do for themselves in certain matchups. I mean, when it came to utilizing your cameo for everything, or basically to, you know, essentially to do all the heavy lifting as far as covering up your weaknesses, Kitana really has to lean heavily on who she's gonna have as a helpmeet in this game. All the other characters didn't have to lean as hard on their hired help, but Kitana, on the other hand, that's how she gets stuff done. I mean, that's ultimately how she has any fear factor in this game, because all the other characters they've got their dirt right now, or they're gaining their dirt right now. I can even tell the characters that haven't been released yet that we're only going to be able to tell who's good or not when the game drops from the Kombat cast. I can already tell who's going to be good or not. I can tell Ashra's gonna have dirt. I can already tell that Rain is gonna have some dirt. I mean, you got characters that have not even dropped up to this point. Kung Lao, I can already see from the gameplay that I've seen from Destroyer, is gonna be super solid, because he's got some good dirt, as does Raiden. All those characters look like they're gonna be solid as French toast when the game drops. And Kitana, on the other hand, I'm looking at her normals, having dealt with her normals now, and all these characters are going to be bringing in command overheads, command lows. They're going to be bringing in frame advantage. They're going to be bringing in range. They're going to be bringing in all kinds of trickery, all kinds of ways that they can mix all their usual trickery with the cameos that they can use to augment that. Whereas Kitana is going to be depending on her cameo 100% for any kind of trickery or any kind of deception, because she just does not have the tools, the natural tools, in order to make the game work for her the way those other characters can make the game work for them. I mean, you're literally seeing it from a very fundamental standpoint. Her jump 2-1. I'm sending. Let me show it to you again. I gotta chase them. I gotta chase the fucker all the way across the screen again. I gotta chase them when I get a ground bounce for a combo. Look at this. Look at this. Like, what can I gotta chase the fucker all the way across the screen. Let me prove it again. See, I can't even chase that. I'm trying to chase. It's that bad. If any other option used by the computer for Li Mei was not forward 3, I would have gotten punished. If the computer decided to wake up with the chain reaction, which is back forward 4 for Li Mei, which is the lunging knee into the flurry, fist flurry, that would have flattened me into the corner, I would have been corner carried, and I would have been put in a very unfavorable situation where the computer would have had a lot more advantage than what it did. All because the game refuses to bounce the opponent directly in front of me, as it does for characters like Sub-Zero, and it makes me chase them down in the middle of my own combo. Yeah, that's what she's got to deal with. All right, but going away from that, let's take this a step further. Let's go a little bit further down the line. Check this out. Hold on. Yeah, you see that right there? That was her 4 forward 3-3. Okay, so I'm trying to use 4 forward 3-3 in a combo, because if you try using that normal sequence on the ground against a smart opponent, the hit reaction for those 4 hits from those 3 inputted buttons is high, 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 high. Or high, 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 high. Okay? You've got 4 highs coming in a row, in succession, from utilizing that sequence. Which basically means if a smart opponent sees you trying to use that normal sequence, they're just gonna duck and blow you up for free. Look at that shit. This right there. And even when I hit, as you can see, let me rewind it. Even when I hit, on an airborne opponent or on a grounded opponent, my follow-ups will not connect. All right, so let me show it to you again. As you can see, I landed right there. Did not connect. Does not connect.
Like, what the fuck?
I have to use my help meet in order to come out and give me the kind of stun I need to give me a combo for a move that I can special cancel for myself, but the game does not want to give me the combo when I do so. It's possible the game allows me to special cancel that at mid-screen and in the corner. In the corner, I can get the combo I want, but if I'm at mid-screen, as you can see, even though I can special cancel, it's gonna whiff, and at that point, I better pray I've got my help meet out on the screen with the cameo to actually come out and freeze or trap my opponent to get me the combo I deserve. Let me show it to you one more time.
Look at that shit.
Yeah, I got the hit. Wait until I'm grounded. I'm getting punished. I'm getting punished.
I can't do anything into that. Like, what the fuck?
I'm just using it right now to prove a point, like, to show you exactly what I'm talking about.
For everything. On her 4-3-3s, her dial string right there that you were seeing, basically I call it Chie's Rampage, because if you've ever played Persona.
So basically you're literally seeing the results of what happened. At this point in the stream, I was coming to the realization of just how pathetic that particular string set was. Now, I had already known it was pathetic from the stress test, because during the stress test, I already knew about it being high, 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 high. But at the same time, it's not gotten any better. They did not fix it. They did not change the reactions between the stress test and the beta. And in the beta, even when I get the hit, I'm still left in a problematic position that I don't deserve to be in. I'm just using it one more time. Just using it right there. Even when I cancel it in the air. I can cancel it in the air and on the ground.
But it doesn't capture them.
And the sad part about that normal string, it won't even allow me to call out my help meet.
I gotta do the whole French toast thing in the air. It's bullshit.
And once again, on an airborne opponent, no help.
And I can't call my assist while I'm in the air.
I'm literally trying to call my cameo while I'm in the air doing this sequence, and it does not let me do so. I'm literally trying to call out my cameo. Every single time you see me in the air right there, not canceling into a special, I'm trying to call out my cameo while I'm in the air. It won't allow me to call out my cameo until I land a foot or a heel on the ground, and then the cameo comes out to do whatever I wanted to do, even though I would have wanted the cameo to come out sooner so that I could set something up. Now, for a character like Frost, that's not too bad because it's the ground freeze that I would want anyways. But for other cameos where I would want them to come out a lot sooner because of what I might have in mind with whatever I'm going to do, special canceling my moves in the air, that's an issue. That's an issue. That greatly limits how she can play the game.
Bro, man, she got the
4 forward 3-3 is useless. And here we go. Back 1-4.
Both high starters.
Speaking of high hit reactions, we got back 1-4.
High, both high starters.
Okay, so the story behind this move, this is back 1-4. All right, back 1-4 is a double high hitting string that on block actually leaves Kitana at +3. Okay, it leaves her at +3, but the problem with this attack is when it's blocked, especially at mid screen, is that it pushes the opponent back
half screen's distance, such that the plus frame advantage that she would be enjoying is not something that she can enjoy anymore because of how far away it pushes her back from the opponent. What makes matters even worse about this string is it's a double high hitting string that doesn't jail on the first hit on block, meaning that if your opponent is crazy enough to stand block the first hit, if he doesn't see it coming, they actually get a full combo punish after they've ducked the second hit, let it whiff, and you can now enjoy the fact that you're going to either get corner carried, cameo comboed, whatever the case may be. When your opponents realize they can just duck both hits of the back 1-4, then you are left in a world of hurt because that move has a gob of recovery that she ain't gonna be able to recover from in general if your opponent's on top of their game.
On top of that, if the opponent blocks the shit, it sends them all the way to Kingdom Come.
But yeah, as you can see right there, even on hit,
Both of these are high.
it leaves her with absolutely little payoff. Look at this.
It sends them all the way to Kingdom Come.
Look at that. It sends them all the way across the screen with no hope of you getting any kind of a follow-up because it's not special cancelable on hit, block, whatever. And then you have to chase them down because it's a softball knockdown. As you can see, they can just get right up. And there's the pushback. You just saw the pushback.
All the way to Kingdom Come. And when it hits, it's not special cancelable.
See, there's the pushback.
I can't call my assist.
And yeah, you cannot call out your cameo when that string is in progress, by the way. So yeah, once again, you cannot call out your cameo when the back 1-4 is in progress.
And when it hits, it's not special. Thing that she has that's plus on
Yeah,
block.
you cannot call out any help when you do this.
It sends them all the way to
You do it, you commit to
When
it.
it hits, it's not special cancelable. I can't call my assist.
Because even on hit, block, whatever, I was trying to call out Frost to do something to come and help me out.
Useless, bro. And look at that. 21 frame low starter.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that.
21 frame low starter.
We'll get into that. That's her back 3. We're going to get into that. All right, here we go.
Stand 3, once again, another one of those moves that's just there.
Yeah, stand 3 is useless. Unless it's in a combo, it's useless.
The stuff that they took from Sindel. And look at this. You want to see how they really hate her? You want to see where they really hate her? Check this out. Check this out. The booty bump. This is a high. This shit is high. You duck it, you blow it up. In fact, all of this shit, you duck it, you blow it up. The simple command, this shit takes forever to come out. And I'm here to tell you right now, if you get hit by this shit, well, yeah, delete the game. But on a serious note, you block. I'll show it to you. I'll go through another tower battle. I'll just show it to you. Like that right there. I mean, that right there, the booty bump. Like, bro, you don't even have to just duck it in order to punish it. You can block the motherfucker, and next thing you know, you're at plus 14. You can use whatever you want.
Check this out.
She's screwed.
Check this out.
Imagine giving a character a negative 14 on block high right here in this sequence. And it's just like, well, whether they duck you or whether they block it, it don't matter. They're getting a happy birthday regardless. And if I cancel into any of my air specials, they're still gonna get a happy birthday because my air specials are unsafe as hell.
Notice
And
how
of
I gotta
course,
chase
as
him
you
down.
can see, I'm trying to bring out my cameo to help me out with this shit. And
Notice.
of course, ain't no using the cameo.
Yeah, the combos are not very optimal in that particular, with that particular move.
Ain't no using my cameo.
You can't call out the cameo. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, inside of that video, the back 3-4, they stole that from Sindel. All right, so they took that from Sindel, who had it in Mortal Kombat 11. They put it in Kitana's move list. The difference is when Sindel has it in MK11, the second hit of that sequence is actually a plus frame encounter on block. Yes, it's a high, but if you force your opponent to block that, they actually have to eat plus frames. They have to hold whatever follow-up you've got coming next, because I think it was what +2 or 3 on block. I forget. But there was an actual guessing game to making somebody block high or low, because Kitana does have a low variant of this particular sequence with back 3-3. However, it's a lot more, it's -2. You're still giving up your turn. Whereas, of course, back 3-4, you're basically getting full combo punished because you made your opponent block high, which is unheard of. A high hitting maneuver that is -14 on block. And your air specials are all full combo punishable on block. And even when you nail this and hit,
course,
your combos are not going to even be optimal, or at least mine weren't in this particular case. But you still have to chase them down. Look at how much distance I have to close in order to chase my opponent down after I've gotten them locked up in the air with this combo. I have to chase them down in this slow game that doesn't have anywhere near the kind of movement as, say, like an MK9 or an MKX by any stretch of the imagination to go and chase somebody down for a combo. I'm now put on the back foot when it comes to my follow-up, and now it forces me to essentially, you know, give an indirect advantage back to my opponent that they don't deserve. So where I'm coming with all of this is that, yeah, back 3-4 on block, on hit, it needs to be retooled. It starts up in 21 frames as well. You're talking about a move, a low starter that comes out in over 20 frames that leads to more negative frames when you at least get the hit.
And of course,
or when you have, when you get the hit. And you're having to work so hard even when you get the connection. See, look at that. He was able to dash right out of dodge away from what I had in store for him, all because the follow-up took so much time to develop.
Like, bro, I can't even use my cameo on half of this.
I mean, sad days, bro. Absolutely sad days. Yeah, you get right down to the thick of it. I mean, it's just very harsh to deal with. As far as mids are concerned, Kitana has only 2 serviceable mids in this particular build. I already told you about her 21 frame low starter. You ain't cooking shit with that. All right, let's just get that straight right now. All right, her main mids are her back 2, which is, I believe it's 15 frames. Okay, and then you've got forward 1. All right, forward 1, which I believe is 12 frames. All right.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. This is mid.
So essentially, what you're left with is a situation where you've got a mid, which is the 4-1-2 is a 3-hitting sequence, a 3-hit sequence where the second input causes 2 hits. But the thing about it is, it leads into virtually nothing, as you see.
This shit's got that string right there. It has all the makings of an overhead.
And it's not an overhead, it's mid.
Right here, twisted Adenian.
It just leads to a knockdown.
It's got all the makings of being an overhead.
A 27 frame knockdown.
It's special cancelable on the first hit, and it's safe on block, but I wouldn't mind taking away some of that safety
if it meant giving me both of those hits as overheads and allowing me to do something, get a little something with my cameo. It's a high risk, high reward situation right there where I can get my cameo involved and I can start doing a little bit of something that allows me to play Mortal Kombat 1 with the Joneses of this game that are still yet to be on the way in full force. I mean, let's be real. Even amongst the beta characters, she's just there. So basically, forward 1-2. I mean, it just does not grant me a lot. It does not grant me much of anything. The first 2 hits are special cancelable, and it's just a mid-hitting string, a mid-mid string that has very limited range when I do use it, even though it's forward advancing. See, as you can see, very limited range. I gotta be right on them for the first hit of this move to actually come out and make an impact. I have to absolutely be on top of my opponent in order for any of this to take effect. Which fortunately in this case I was. However, against my opponent in that match against Sub-Zero, I wasn't. I had to actually take a step forward and use standing 2 to try and go into my follow-up. But unfortunately, let me go back to that. Let me see if I can find that. Do her any good? That's it. I had the move. Right there. I'll get back on that a little bit later. Look at that shit. I had the move. You see right there. I have to move forward because my forward 1 does not have the range to cover that. The mids I have don't have the range to cover any of that, and you've already seen the inconsistency behind me using my back 2-4 for a check in that situation. Her mids are very, very limiting. And because the back 2 actually starts up in 15 frames, the opponent can recover and basically do whatever they want by then. And if they block the first hit of the back 2, we've already seen the gap get exposed in an earlier matchup. When folks realize the gaps that she has in all of her sequences, and that's another thing. I've already told you about all the things that you can just duck and blow up and punish. I mean, 2-4 has a gap. 1-1-2, which I didn't highlight in this particular video, it's an okay sequence. It's an auto shimmy. It's got some dirt to it, but it's an okay sequence at best. But ultimately, it has a gap to it, so that's 2 things that have gaps. All right, forward 1-2 used to have a gap in the stress test, but they took that out in the beta. They actually patched that up in the beta, so that's good. So she had 1 less gap. But 2-1-4-3-4 or 2-4-1-2 is it has a gap. Yeah, 2-1-4-2 has a gap. So that's 3 things that have gaps. Back 1-4 is duckable and has gaps. Back 3-4-3 has a gap. I mean, that one's pretty obvious. You know, duck it and blow it up. And then you go into, I mean, there's just so many ways that you can just absolutely obliterate whenever she's trying to put her game on block. Anytime she tries to lock you down with any one of those tools on block, you've got ways out of it. Because a lot of her strings either are high hitting strings that can be ducked, aren't true block strings, don't lead to any real plus frames on block, even if somehow she forces you to block. And even when she gets the hit, she's going to have to work hard for whatever damage she gets because a lot of her tools from the special side of things are not consistent with her kit. I mean, for example, even with the tools that they list out for her in her moveset, a lot of the information they give you inside of the move list from the beta was not very accurate or correct. Let's check this out. Here's another thing about the wind bomb that honestly a lot of folks don't take into account as far as the information that we were given to go off of. All right, you see, the thing is, right there, it tells us the wind bomb is an unblockable maneuver. All right, let me try showing it to you again right here. I end my sequence in the wind bomb because I want some good old Oki, some good old set play. All right, great way to use it in the corner. Set it up. It lists it as an unblockable in the move list, but obviously it can be defended. As you can see, it is not an unblockable maneuver. I should have had a full combo right there if the information conveyed to us in the move list was correct. Obviously it wasn't. That should have been an unblockable setup right there in the corner that allowed me to get a full grab punish into that wind bomb that would have allowed me to keep my momentum in the corner and put this round away. Instead, because that information was incorrect, I'm having to continue to work to try and put this guy away in this round in order to continue on with this game. Which I was fortunate enough to do. But that round could have been over a lot sooner if the information in the move set, in the move list, was correct. Right there. So as you can see, the wind bomb was just not great in actually being true to the information that I was given upon allowing it to be what it should be. All right, and going further into her specials, all right? Check this out. We're gonna highlight her fan toss real quick. You see that right there? Right there. Boom. This is a change that we have not ever had to deal with in the past. Fan toss on block up close in the air is full combo punishable. That is definitely not something that we've ever had to deal with. Now, fan toss, it is 8% on hit, all right? So the fan toss is back to being an 8% maneuver on hit, like it was in MKX, all right? So that's something worth talking about. So on the ground, it's a dandy in that sense. But there's a lot of recovery when she gets done tossing it, and there's a lot of recovery in the air, and there's a lot of recovery, as you saw just a few moments ago, with her using it on block in Sub-Zero's face. You get right down into the thick of all of this, and what it boils down to is the fact that her moveset from normals, from single hitting normals to full string sequences to her specials to how she's able to go about her business in the game, just as I showed you with how she was put together in MK11, as I told you she was put together in MKX before they came out with all that they came out with to make her a force in that game. They tried that same approach in MK11. It didn't work. She's still nowhere to be found in Mortal Kombat 11's meta to this very day, and for good reason. All of her pertinent weaknesses that were there when that game first released, in spite of all the laundry lists of changes that they gave her as a character, have not changed anything. She was a badly made character in that game, and she continues to suffer for it in that game by not being a character that you would see anybody pick at business time. I mean, obviously you got guys like Foxy that use her on the side that always try and toot her horn, but they know full well when the money's on the table in that game that they would never resort to using her in order to win the money. In fact, that we play Tekken Master, who was also one that was beating on the drum for Kitana during the We Play Ukraine competitions that were going on before everything happened with the war and everything over there. You had you had Tekken Master using all of his business time characters to get the W. Kitana was nowhere to be found when it mattered. Nowhere at all. And same thing goes for Foxy Grandpa. Every single time he's played Mortal Kombat 11 for the money or in competition, Evo, whatever, Kitana was nowhere to really be found. She had a cameo appearance in the top 8, but everybody knows full well he did not use Kitana in order to make it up to that point in those tournaments. Obviously, I got a lot of love, a lot of respect for those two. Nothing will ever change that. But as far as the subject of Kitana is concerned, everybody knows where business time was in Mortal Kombat 11. And full well, as far as things are stacking up right now in Mortal Kombat 1, with the way Kitana's moveset is modeled right now, and the way that, as I've shown you, you've seen it for your own experience. You've seen all of the examples that I've shown you. You've seen all the ways in which her moveset is very much faulted, to say the least, with how she's able to go about her business in this game. Even when she gets on a roll, even when things are going in her favor, she has things going against her, circumstances going against her, whether she's chasing down her targets that are already in her combos, in her grasp, or whether she's dealing with, very awkward positioning quirks that her moves have going against her. Or in some cases, special cancelable quirks where her moves, which are special cancelable, can't even allow her to get the proper reaction of those specials when she's used them in the situation that they were supposed to be designed for. You see full well with your own eyes what kind of an uphill battle she has to face with all of this coming down at once from both the stress test and the beta. Now, we don't know if they're going to make any changes to her between now and when the game drops. I would hope, especially with how very vocal a lot of folks have been about her moveset on social media, myself included, that something changes. And, you got to remind yourself, of course, it's a beta, it's a stress test. This isn't supposed to be something that's going to be very indicative of what the final game is going to be. But unfortunately, in Kitana's case, she was available in the stress test and in the beta version of Mortal Kombat 11 back once upon a time in 2019. And as I've stated and as I've shown to you in the video that started this broadcast, nothing changed for her in the sense of how faulted her moveset was. Her moveset was faulted when the game was in its negative days, and she's a non-factor even to this day as far as Mortal Kombat 11's meta is concerned. You've got characters that still to this day run circles around her. Mortal Kombat X, she started out so badly that one of her pivotal mids in that game, Forward 1, just a single hitting mid attack that led to hardly anything unless you use the full sequence, led to her being negative 33 on block. I kid you not. It was a negative. Her design in that game was so badly done, it took, I believe, 5 patches for her to finally get to becoming a character that could actually be used the way that she's used to this very day in MKX. In MKX's life right now, she's in a very good spot in that game right now, competitively speaking. However, the changes in all the work it took to bring her up to that point from a design perspective came after the game had its time in the Evo main stage sunlight. They came way too late. And now there were a lot of majors, there were a lot of tournaments that happened after that update was dropped where MKX was still a feature game. And, we were able to do a lot and earn our due in all of those events when that was the case. In fact, Combo Breaker still treats MKX well to this day. But that said, we weren't able to utilize those kinds of changes throughout the time when the game was really and truly in its pinnacle in terms of being in the mainstream. And as far as the pinnacle of a game in the mainstream is concerned, I mean, as I just mentioned, she was a flash in the frying pan in MK11 such that the result that Samij got with her in Combo Breaker 2019, that's the best any Kitana player has ever done with that character from start to finish in a premier tournament. Without switching characters, without going to anybody else. That was when the game was less than a month old, and that was when the game was still in such an infancy that folks didn't know all or any of the matchups to the extent that they would come CEO a month and some change later on that year, where Samij would go on to get 33rd and drop Kitana entirely in favor of Cassie Cage. When he made that switch to Cassie Cage, he got top 8 at EVO and he never looked back. Okay, so you see where I'm going with this. Where I'm going with this in the great scheme of things is... at the end of the day, we're not wanting to sit back and watch the character go through laundry list and laundry list and laundry list of changes before she finally becomes enjoyable to use and not a chore to use by way of, you know, utilizing all the faults, trying to maneuver around all the faults that she's got built into her moveset. She's got way too many faults in her moveset right now. And yeah, it's not something that we're gunning after NRS, trying to threaten anybody. First of all, I'm not for threatening devs. I will never be for that. Anybody that ever does that, you're a low life. All right, stop it. Bringing something to their attention that doesn't work as well as it should or work as intended, yeah, go ahead and do that. Yeah, go ahead and do that. But by the same stretch of the imagination, keep it respectful, keep it within proportion. And to the extent of where we're highlighting that for the third game in a row, basically, that this character is essentially going to be fighting an uphill battle because her moveset is poorly developed from start to finish. I mean, that's something that's well deserving of being brought to everybody's attention that could possibly change that. And you've seen all the ways in this game that have been exhibited so far in the beta stages of this game, such that, you know, you've got the stress test and you got the beta. None of us have touched the final product. We don't know how the final product's going to run. But at the same time, it's worth noting just where she stands right now from our standpoint and how we see things. And this is how I see things as far as the character is concerned. She's got a couple of things that are bright spots, but they're not enough to carry her past the faults that her character design has as a whole from a gameplay perspective. They need to be better. They need to essentially make sure that, or they need to essentially redesign things to where we're not having to wait years for the character to finally become fun to play, fun to use, and worth using, especially if we're going to be using her in a competitive sense. It'd be nice to be able to use her right out of the box and she's able to actually compete with the Joneses of this game without needing laundry lists of changes, because NRS is essentially admitting they screwed up with her gameplay design as they did in the previous games when they did just that. Anytime you need laundry lists worth of changes in order to redesign a character, you're admitting you poorly put them together in the first place. And considering where she's at right now, it's best for them to actually make changes like that now before the game releases than for us to live with the pain and deal with the aggravation and the frustration of having to maneuver around these very fixable faults that her game kit has before everything drops in earnest. And that's why, you know, this entire cast was something I felt needed to happen, especially from my perspective. The way I see things, she's just got way too many faults in her kit right now that can be corrected before the game releases, and all we can do is cross our fingers that they are corrected and that she's given a little something extra to help really spice up her gameplay, which at this point in time right now, even when things are clicking, is very, very vanilla and very, very adaptable. So one can only hope that things change for the better. One can only hope that, NRS takes any of this into account. And for all of you guys that are brand new to the StarDock, I hope you guys like, follow, subscribe to the Twitch stream, like, follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Once again, let me go ahead and just link that video that I had at the beginning. So that you want to check that out on when I made that about MK11 back in the day, go ahead. And if you check out the YouTube, please like, follow, subscribe. If you want to join the StarDock Discord, we've got links in here on doing so. And I would like to see a lot of new faces come by and check out all the things that we're doing in there, as I will be bringing back the competitive StarDock showcases when Mortal Kombat 1 drops. So you can count on that, and you can count on a lot of cool stuff coming down the line once everything is in earnest. And so all of you guys, I appreciate every single one of you. And I hope you guys check out the YouTube. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. We're on our way. We're halfway there. And yeah, help me get the word of this video out to NRS. Much love to every single one of you. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you guys are all having a great night. And as always, buff Kitana. What's good, everybody? Thank you so much for watching. For more juicy YouTube content, please like, follow, subscribe to the channel. And to stay up to date on all the StarDock developments, please follow along on the Twitter page, like, follow, subscribe to the Twitch page, and join in on all of the Discord action by joining in the StarDock Discord so that you can stay up to date on all the games that we love to play and stream. I appreciate all of your support on all platforms, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care, everybody.